If somebody told me these 10 things I'm going to talk about today before I started playing Valorant, my competitive journey would have undeniably progressed way faster than it did. I'm not gonna waste any more time, let's get into it. Starting off, I wish I didn't start my Valorant career by blaming teammates for my losses. Now, in the start of me playing Valorant and trying extremely hard to climb the ranks, I would often blame my teammates for us losing a match. And although you sometimes genuinely have terrible players on the team, the mentality I wish I had started out with was the mentality that I have to carry every single ranked match I play. This sounds extremely cocky, but at a certain point in me playing ranked, I just had to tell myself, if I ever want to rank up, I need to be comfortable being the one carrying. On Twitter, I see so many of my friends and even streamers tweeting out that they lost a game where they're top fragging. And when I look at that nowadays, I honestly just cringe, especially considering they usually only top frag with a few more kills than the guy under them on their team. Back in the days, I would have seen those tweets as relatable. And when I had this victim-like mentality, not only did I lose more matches, but I also improved at a way slower rate compared to when I started being comfortable with carrying. Additionally, I also probably win like 20% more matches just because I'm able to maintain a relatively positive mentality regardless of the current score of the match. I've won quite a few matches being down 9-3 just by saying, guys, we will never meet again. We need 10 rounds to win this game. I don't know about you, but I'm not playing this game to lose on purpose. Let's actually give this a go. And for some reason, that is like a motivational speech for the team, and they actually focus up. And if we win that first round and make it 9-4, you can hear that the players on the team become passionate. Up next, we have not tensing my arm when aiming. Back in the day when I first started playing FPS games, I would hold my mouse so incredibly hard when I was aiming, and for some reason that caused my aim to be shaky. I was doing a lot of research on how to fix this problem because the shaky aim was definitely holding me back from becoming the player I wanted to be. After talking to a few figures in the aiming community, I found out that the solution to my shakiness problem was to start holding my mouse with a super light grip, meaning I no longer tense at all when moving the mouse around. Some of you watching this video probably do tense your arm and still see great success. And if your aim is phenomenal with tensing, there's nothing wrong with that. But I need to share this to those of you watching who might have shaky aim like I did in the past, because it's so frustrating not being able to fix it and feeling like it's holding you back. Moving on to the third thing I wish I knew sooner, we have the effect of recording your games and watching them back. In the moment when you're playing, it's not always easy to single out what your weaknesses as a player are, again resulting in it being hard to know what to spend your time on when practicing. When I started taking a game more seriously, I started recording my games with NVIDIA Shadowplay just so I could watch back and find my flaws as a player. What can be beneficial to do is to write down the cause of your deaths. So if you die because you have bad crosshair placement, you type that. If you die because of bad awareness, you type that on a piece of paper or a Google Docs document. At the end of the match, you find the one thing you died the most to, and you start practicing that given weakness. This way, you will exponentially improve as a player. Even just watching back your game and actively thinking about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and focusing in on what was good and what was not so good will have a very positive impact on your improvement as a player. On more or less the same note, it is highly effective to watch pro players play as well. In the beginning of me playing, I only put hours into competitive without really getting to know much about the pro scene. I wish someone told me to watch pros play, learn from them, and if you can watch a professional who mains your agent, that is even better. Finding out everything there is to know about Valorant by solo queuing is gonna take a long time. What I like to do is watch pros when they stream, as that is the most comparable to my ranked games. Watching a professional Valorant at the highest level, I mean orgs versus orgs, isn't really the same as the ranked experience at all. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend watching VCT for ranked improvements. What I have found to be beneficial is watching a streamer play and actively thinking how you would have played different scenarios the streamer's in. If he plays it differently than how you would have played it, try and find out why he played it differently. This way, you might learn another way to play at a higher level. This method of learning is especially effective in the mid to high ranks like Diamond and Ascended. Next up, we have surrounding yourself with good players. Now, for me, the joy I get out of Valorant is improving and climbing the ranks. But I do need to note that if you're only playing the game for fun, I also 100% respect that. But if you play the game only for fun, this tip is probably not for you. For a few months in the start of my Valorant journey, I only played with IRL friends, and I had a ton of fun with them. However, I had a deep desire to keep climbing the ranks. I didn't want to be stuck in Diamond 2 forever, and it seemed like they didn't really care at all about what rank they were. So when I was on and they weren't, I actively tried to meet other players who also had a wish to climb the ranks and improve at the game. This helped me massively become a much better player. Playing with someone who genuinely cared about winning the games we played, just like myself, felt amazing, and the progress as well skyrocketed as soon as I started playing with another competitive player. If your main goal is to climb the ranks as fast as possible, I highly recommend trying to find a good friend group or even just a good duo to play with. Someone who is as passionate as you are in getting to the top. When people talk about fundamentals in Valorant, they mention crosshair placement, aim, movement, how you use your abilities, but what I wish somebody talked about when I started playing would have been timing. Understanding timing is a fundamental skill that needs to be practiced. Timing isn't luck, and mastering timing can result in you playing at a ridiculously high level. Timing and game sense kind of go hand in hand, but I like to look at them as two individual skills to practice. Having good timing very often comes from having good auditory awareness and understanding how to use the audio cues around you in any given situation. If you play your next few matches thinking about the fact that timing is a skill and not something dependent on luck or unluckiness, you'll start seeing more improvement. If somebody told me this when I started playing, I think I would have progressed way faster, because a lot of the time when I started, I categorized my opponent's good timing as them getting lucky, when in reality, it really wasn't luck at all. The seventh thing I wish I knew sooner is how effective streamer custom games can be. This tip is especially true if you're ranked anywhere below platinum. Streamer 5v5s is often with some very good players. That's a great opportunity to learn a lot. When you're playing ranked in ranks like silver and gold, you very often don't get punished for the mistakes you make, meaning you'll keep on making the same mistakes over and over again. An easy way to fix this is to play some streamer customs. Making mistakes when playing custom 5v5s will get punished, especially if the players you meet are at a much higher level than you. Now, this might not be the most fun experience in the world, but it will be super beneficial for improvement. So try and look at it that way, even if it is slightly boring. I think if you play some streamer customs a week and you are in a low rank, you learn so much and exponentially improve. The eighth thing I wish I knew sooner is the fact that it doesn't matter how you win as long as you win. Obviously, as long as you don't break the game's TOS. When I first started playing, I remember I hated lineups. I thought it was the most cringe thing ever how somebody could hide behind a wall playing pre-planned lineups to molly the spike. But as time progressed and I became more and more eager to climb the ranks, I found myself dabbling in a lineup or two in the matches I played. I came to the conclusion that I wanted to be a player who won matches, and it didn't really matter how I did it. Winning more games, regardless of how cringe it was, made me infinitely better, because as you climb the ranks, the better players you face, again resulting in you becoming better. So doing a few lineups, playing the meta, and being a so-called cringe player was one of the best things I did for my individual skill. And if somebody gave me the green card to play like this from the very start, that would have made my competitive progress even faster. The penultimate thing I wish somebody talked about is how much monitor settings matter. For some reason, very few people seem to talk about how tweaking some settings on your monitor can literally be career changing. Now, the impact of the tweaks depends on what monitor you have, but I really recommend finding your monitor's model number and searching up on YouTube your monitor's name and the best gaming settings for that monitor. After I tweaked my monitor, it felt like I was playing a totally different game, and the time playing just became more enjoyable, and it is undeniably something I wish I did sooner. Just to clarify, I'm of course not talking about changing the hertz. I'm talking about optimizing the monitor for gaming in terms of everything else than hertz. The final thing I wish I knew sooner would have been to put on the right settings in game. Playing the right settings just makes the game a lot easier, and for me, the right settings is just setting them all super low, making the delay non-existent, and clicking heads a lot easier compared to the default settings I started out with. And there you have it. 10 things I wish I knew sooner in Valorant. I tried making the 10 things a little unorthodox, so it didn't become like every other video on this topic ever. That will be it though for the third video here on the channel. If you've been enjoying the content so far, consider liking and subscribing, as that really does help out more than you think. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will catch you in the very next episode.